I am so excited. A brand new season of Stranger Things is almost here. So today I'm going to show you how to build a template that nails that 80s synthwave vibe. I actually started this episode by fully remaking the original intro theme, but let's be honest, you've seen that 100 times already. So instead, I've put that full remake and today's finished template, along with whatever we create today, over at the Patreon. And in this video, we're going to do something a little bit more fun. Let's imagine what the sound of Hawkins will be this year. Each season has its own twist on that classic theme, building a new soundtrack. So today, we'll build our own version from scratch. Let's dive in. Starting off, let's look at the original theme. I'm going to break this into stems because playing the instruments together will most likely get me demonetized. So for the original theme, I only used two pieces of audio, a crash cymbal right at the end, and this kick drum for that heartbeat sound. And you want to use two pitches for the heartbeat, one kind of higher pitch and one lower pitch. And what I'm doing is making sure that we've got two louder kicks and then two slightly quieter kicks. The things that will make this kick stand out is a little bit of saturation and then EQ movement. Now, of course, we're going to be using that famous arpeggio sound in both kind of soundtracks or themes. And in the original theme tune, I've done a square wave and another square, an octave apart with the D tune on 0.9. You can also use like a square wave and a triangle wave to give it a little bit of a different texture. The main thing that you want to make use of is this frequency filter. Throughout the theme, this is going to be moving upwards until the very end when it grows darker. The same goes for the volume, and you want to ensure that you've got a little bit of saturation drive as well so that you can drive this up in places too. Chorus will help you get that wider sound. It's not at 100% wet, but just 50-50. And then the EQ8 here also doing filter automation as well, just to really exaggerate some of those changes. Next up, we come to our basses. I've put these in a group with saturator, EQ, and glue compression just to kind of tame any unnecessary highs and make sure that those basses keep evolving over time. Our bass top is that signature Stranger Things sound. We've got a triangle wave with a square wave down an octave and that D tune at 0.13. Again, all of this D tune helps give that analog vintage sound as if it's running through actual hardware. Just 1.1 on the drive, analog clip, and we're bringing this down to about 20%. And the same goes for chorus ensemble, just 20% to give it a teeny bit of width because we have a wider preset underneath. We're using drift, square wave, the second oscillator is turned off. We're running into that saturator, that chorus once again, making sure that we've got our EQ8 here, and then a line delay to make it plenty wider. We want to ensure that our drift instrument has the frequency modulation set to envelope 2 and about 70-80%. That's what's going to give it that kind of wow phonetic. Sub bass underneath gives us all of that warm anchor. I'm using the Soul Bass Drift preset in Ableton, but making sure that I've tied an LFO to the EQ8 so it has this kind of warbly movement throughout. There's just an edge of a growl there. I did notice a kind of pulsing pad that I think couples really well with the ARP. And you can hear that just a touch in the original theme. This isn't going to necessarily play a part in our reimagined soundtrack, but what will play a major role is the fact that we'll change these pads kind of every 4 bars or so just to introduce new flavors. So go through this real quick. We've got some drift pads. I really like these characters. They add just a touch of dissonance. We've got the shark pad preset there, and then a drift instrument, triangle wave, and a sine wave, sort of an octave apart. And again, that D-tune chorus, really important, but a little bit more reverb and making sure that we automate these frequencies throughout. Next up, an analog pad and a drift pad. One delays and one kind of washes through with reverb. And then every now and then we'll have like a little bloop. or some ghost synths. Let's use these instruments as pillars or rules for trying to picture what the soundtrack could sound like in the new season. So the original theme had this back and forth heartbeat kick. And I think what I want to do is add a little bit of tension, add a kind of irregular heartbeat to the first 2 or 4 bars. Super easy stuff. Let's look at the arpeggio. In terms of the arpeggiated synth, this time round, I want it to simply ascend instead of its both up and down rhythm that it had in the original theme tune. So maybe we'll start with G. We could just have that, but I feel like it needs a little bit of movement. So maybe we'll move it up slightly and add like a semitone for that kind of minor dissonance. Yeah, that. I think just add in a little bit of OTT here so it has a little bit more bite. And then maybe starting the automation off with a lot of reverb wash so it feels much more far away. Maybe in a higher octave, we kind of harmonize with this a little bit. So I'll go D, A sharp. Kind of like a duality of 2 characters that might have to duke it out. So something like this. I don't want that to come in right away, but I think that could be good at kind of the quarter or halfway point. Bass is nice and easy. I think I'll just go up to the F here, shorten this. We only really need sort of 3 notes, but I play octaves for these to give it a little bit more texture. So we have the G, D sharp, and then the F. And as you can tell, a little bit of automation there as well. Let's duplicate that throughout. We'll end on that G. And here, easy as, we can just copy that down for the sub bass as well. But I think even maybe like a high passed respace so we get some growl. I think that would be awesome. Our respace, just the Reese filtered preset in Ableton with a little bit of EQ, just to create a little bit of a knuckle on that accent. How's that sounding so far? Out comes that reverb. Nice. And really accenting that first pass at the harmony. This could even grow up, I guess. Ooh, I'm tense. This is sounding great. Oh, I should mention this video is sponsored by DistroKid. And whilst we're talking about TV and film, did you know that DistroKid can take care of your music distribution as well? Just upload your video and they'll upload it to the correct places. Not only that, but they can take care of your artwork and your Canvas videos too. Just check out the tools under the goodies tab. There's discounts in the description. Let's get back to the video. It's time to add all of our pads. And for the most part, I'm probably gonna play the downbeat, that G, and not really harmonize too much with the main theme. We're just gonna back up that root note. So here, we've got this kind of ghostly pad that fades in and fades out. We want to make sure that we have attack with this instrument. So pull that attack up. Instead of an initial loudness to that instrument, we're pulling it up to almost 4 seconds. So it's going to fade in over time. And then I'm using the utilities gain just to get a nice decay on that instrument over the first 2 bars. And I think as that instrument fades, we should bring in a new pad, this kind of washout synth that is, again, just going to play what the bass has played before. So we can play the sharp, the F, and then the G. I've added a little bit more reverb to this, but it's still got the delay and the EQ from our previous template. Lots of movement. Did we mention that there was going to be a little boop? So here's our boop. And I'm making sure that that has that like kind of dusty vinyl noise by adding the vocoder. Draw in the bands that you want to be heard, just like an EQ, so we're hearing those higher bands. Up the formant, that's kind of our pitch, and depth is our activity. I'm just drawing that into about 50% dry wet. With 100%, it's all noise. So we want to make sure that we have about 50% dry wet, and the reverb will take care of the rest. A line delay makes it nice and wide. Next up, I want to add just a little bit of sparkle. Again, staying on the G. That's going to wash through, and you can hear the vocoder taking effect there at 100% dry wet. And what we can do is have that wash up to the bar line and wash back down again over time. And maybe we can have that play a little less so we can hear more of the tone. We bring that up all the way. We kind of wash out that note a little bit. So I think I was a little bit harsh to begin with. In the original theme, you have one element, which I think is the boop, which doesn't apply to any of these rules. And I think we could do the same with this ghost synth. Just a triangle wave and then this kind of manipulated sine triangle thing. Same octave, but a little bit of detune as per, lots of reverb, lots of EQ taking off any unnecessary highs. And I think we'll just have maybe a higher, yeah, that's lovely. So a higher C. I think something like that would be really great. I should have held this second note for longer, but I think this is the vibe for sure. We'll just quantize that. I want to add those under pads. So we've got something that's a little darker, playing 3 octaves this time. How surprising. All on the G, not so surprising. This is going to be slightly darker. Again, still kind of ghostly, but you can hear how it grows. And again, this is all offset, kind of 4 bars from everything. So the first 4 bars, we've got a couple of pads here. The second 4 bars, we've got a few pads here. And then as we grow to the end, we're going to have a couple of pads as well. We've got this darker drift pad. Making sure that I'm using tremolo to add a little bit of uncertainty. So if we brought that amount right up, way too much. But we want to just bend the time a little bit. So 20% sounds good. Just super subtle. And then with our pad underneath, again, we've still got 16% on the tremolo, a little bit of automation gain, and then making sure this one's a little bit more raspy. Triangle wave and a sine wave with a little bit of noise, just to give it that kind of vintage feel. That one's sitting inside a group, so I can automate the lows. Let's get to a little bit of drama, or what I've called the drama synth. We've got drift once again, and I've got the EQ here ready to automate some lows. I want to do the G, D sharp, F, and G as I've done before, but I think just these 3 notes are going to be up an octave, and this one's maybe going to be lower or sit on that same G. Grows darker. It's a little too low. We'll have it up here alone. And you know what? In the recreation of the theme, I had 2 instruments that were audio, the kick and a cymbal wash at the end. So I'm going to use a second piece of audio again, this time a nice big bell sound. And again, I'll just follow the G, the D sharp, and the F. That's powerful. That's really cool. This time when we go back to the G, it's going to be the lower octave. I think I'm happy with this. As we mentioned, we want to automate this throughout so that all of our basses and different pad sounds are moving and evolving throughout. And also you want that vintage sound. So down in the master, what I have is an EQ8 just to roll off kind of unnecessary lows. Chorus ensemble, a little bit of width there. Vibrato flutter, we already spoke about, just creating a little bit of pitch bend, saturation to give it that kind of vintage warmth, and then once again an EQ8. Saturation is going to add a little bit of a low rumble, so we're taking that off there with the EQ8, and just a pinch of the high end limiter there just in case, but really we're just boosting the gain so it's nice and loud for you guys. Now, to really ensure that this works within our universe and make sure that you're on the right track, you can take any scene from Stranger Things, throw it in a stem separator so you have just the vocals, and play that over your soundtrack. Let's take a look.
Come on, kids. Go upstairs. Oh, hi.
Mommy, what's he doing?
Is this really necessary?
If that porcelain belly is pregnant with an explosive device, you will soon be thanking me. And remember, you are not lowering this bucket. You are.
Releasing it. Got it.
We want to make sure that we destroy that doll with as much force as possible.
Yep, got it.
One more thing. Joyce, are you there? Talk to me, Joyce! Joyce! Joy! 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 Joy!
Yeah.
What happened?
Wow, I'm genuinely surprised. What do you think of this new soundtrack vibe for the new season of Stranger Things? Could it work? If not, what should I have done differently? If you end up using this template, feel free to share your work with me and the community over at the Discord, or DM me on Instagram. Thanks as always for swinging through. Let me know what you want to see in future episodes, and I'll see you next time.